Seems everywhere you look, a giant studio is releasing another big budget game that we're all supposed to care about. Which begs the question, are there any independent development studios that are worth your time? Hey folks, it's the Dove here with the answer, which is obviously yes, and I have a list of independent video games that are worth your time. Just as a disclaimer, there's a bit of a debate as to what makes an indie game. We're focused on games by indie developers, so let's get right to the list. Let's start off with Cult of the Lamb. This game is one of the best dungeon crawlers I think I have ever played. One reason I enjoy Cult of the Lamb is how natural the controls feel. There is no clunky, slow, delayed response you get with those old-fashioned dungeon crawls. This game keeps the controls very responsive to your movements, which allows some really great combos down the line. Another reason I love the dungeon crawling aspect is it continually adds both variety and choice to your weapons, which makes the combat aspect a lot more fun and a lot more replayable. The characters, enemies, and bosses that you see are so varied and unique, it just really caters well to this crazy art style that they have, and that all ties in beautifully with the atmosphere and the music. It's just a great, stunning feast for the senses. When you're not dungeon crawling, you're running a cult, which is basically a management simulator or farm simulator. I really like how it slows the game down a bit and lets you relax and build up your community. The game still wants you to both play the dungeon crawling and build your cult, but I gotta say, you can get lost in that community building and management simulator really quick if you're not too careful. The characters are cheeky and the whole game has a really funny, dark, comedic tone to it. You handle managing the cult's workflow, meals, healthcare, relationships. A new patch adds some more adult themes, funerals, and much more. You could easily get lost in the cult building aspect of this game for hours and hours, and almost forget about the dungeon crawling, but I tell you, that is so much fun. The bosses are challenging and very creative. They really keep you on your toes the whole battle. It also makes you try to plan ahead with your weapons and special ability, but you never really know what you're going to get unless you've played it before. Even if you have, the procedurally generated maps will keep the veteran players on their toes and keep the challenge going. Cult of the Lamb by Massive Monster, a small indie developer from Australia teaming up with Devolver Digital, is a great title you should pick up. Available on all major consoles, PC, and Mac. This next one has been out for a while, but it was just ported to the PS5 within the last few months. It has a Minecraft look, but it is closer to GTA in playstyle and themes. And dare I say, GTA might learn a few things from this indie title from Tuxedo Games, a development team known for mostly small or mobile games out of Sweden. But let's get back to Teardown. It is a lot of fun and addictive. It is at the heart a great puzzle game and a bit of a platformer. Yeah, you smash shit here and there, and that's therapeutic as hell. But the main focus of the game is trying to get from A to B, and usually C, D, E, and F, within 60 seconds, and get the F out of there. So most of the game is pretty much building up to your run against the clock. It's a lot of platforming once you trigger the first alarm, but even more so, this game is just a big puzzle to figure out how you're going to do the task within the time limit. You get an assortment of tools to blow up walls in your way or sledgehammer the floor, and as you develop your tools, get more elaborate and destructive. It can be equally parts frustrating, challenging, and rewarding, but this game is a hell of a lot of fun and something you gotta try. This game is open as can be. If you can think it, you can pretty much do it. Everything you see on the level, you can manipulate to some degree. Burn it, smash it, do what you want, but it really opens up the game to make every level a real sandbox and extremely replayable. I can't believe how extremely addictive this can be. Teardown by Tuxedo Games is available on PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series. This next game is the most recent release on the list. Pacific Drive is at its heart a first-person driving survival game. This game has a sci-fi Black Mirror / X-Files atmosphere that works perfectly with the style of game. Developed by Ironwood Studios out of Seattle, it is a small company with Pacific Drive as their first game, and I have to say, it is amazing. The controls outside of driving have a Bethesda feel to them. In addition, the Bethesda vibe carries over to the survival and scavenging aspect as well. I enjoyed the addition of tools to break things down for components. It made the crafting seem more intricate and entertaining. Where some people might not love this driving game is weirdly the driving controls, but I believe that is the point. Much like Death Stranding, where the task of walking while carrying something is very difficult at first, so is the steering and overall control of Pacific Drive. It's initially more difficult, but as you progress and unlock better equipment for your vehicle, those tasks like controlling your car and steering just become a lot easier. You start off with a jalopy that is hanging on for dear life. I mean, it is the shitbox version of Kit from Knight Rider, but you gotta add your car piece by piece until it's more drivable. The game is challenging and focuses on the survival aspect. The story that goes on is worth the journey. You and your car get pulled into this Bermuda Triangle-esque area in the 1990s, and you drive through the chaos as you try to find a way out. You meet some colorful characters on the radio along the way. The professional voice acting adds a solid layer of depth to this story. As someone who's driven shit cars his entire life, this simulation really hits true. I love the twist of the sci-fi also, that helps. But this is a game, if you've ever driven a shit car in your life, you might enjoy. So check it out if you can. Pacific Drive by Ironwood Studios is available on PlayStation 5 and PC. This next game has removed all want or need to purchase any Madden football game ever again. Legend Bowl is a retro-looking but new-age control football game that is in constant rotation on my PS5. The obvious issue for the younger crowd are the graphics. It is a retro 16-bit format that makes the actual headshots of the players an awful sight. But the actual gameplay is simple and very workable. You don't have the crazy high realistic graphics and the multiple animations for the players' movesets, but you do have quick, highly responsive controls that make the gameplay infinitely enjoyable. The franchise/season mode is well crafted and easy to jump right in. It is a little on the simple side and needs a bit of an injection on mechanic updates for the trades and free agency, but you have what you need to run your team. The playbooks on both sides of the ball are in depth. You can likely find similar plays to Madden playbooks, so the strategy during the game stays intact. There is no simplification because the graphics are 16-bit. The customization is the strongest part of the game off the field. The game gives you freedom to change everything from the field you play on to the uniforms you wear. Play in any city and name them whatever you want. The logos are a little limited, but there is still a decent collection to work with. All in all, Legend Bowl is one of the best football games I have played in the last decade. This title is definitely worth checking out, and it has a playable demo for those interested. It's available on PC, PlayStations, Xboxes, and Nintendo Switch. This next game by Slow Clap is one of the most challenging games I have played. Sefue is a third-person roguelike fighting game that challenges the player to fight better constantly. You are consistently forcing yourself to learn how to take down an enemy faster or a group of baddies more efficiently. The game's controls are simple at first, but you constantly learn new moves and more efficient takedowns. The development seems very natural. You never feel like you are staying stagnant. And if you feel like you are way too powerful, then you probably see the Matrix. Or just wait a level. I would constantly think I was getting over the difficulty hump or starting to understand all the mechanics of the game, just to turn the metaphorical corner and get my ass handed to me. It can turn off some players with its brutal learning curve and unforgiving difficulty, but those who stick with this kung fu movie style action roguelike will likely be drawn to its challenge. Slowclap is an independent developer from France. They released a fighting game back in 2017 called Absolver that got some notoriety, but Sefue is really their breakout into the mainstream. This great game is available on the PlayStations, Xboxes, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Hello Games made a name for themselves by completely over-promising and under-delivering on their initial release of No Man's Sky. But unlike most flops, Hello Games stuck with No Man's Sky after launch and created one of the best space exploration games there is. There are a lot of crafting and survival type elements, but when you have the chance to fly through the stars or travel from star system to star system, or enter a planet's atmosphere, the feeling of awe is just overwhelming. No Man's Sky is a perspective optional action survival game that takes place in an absolute humongous universe. I have spent hours flying around my spaceship, scouring asteroid fields looking for resources to trade and upgrade my ship. And most of the exploration I do has nothing to do with the story. It is just a blast to comb through the universe randomly. The actual story to the game can be a bit slow, but as I said, the true enjoyment of this game comes with the vast exploration of the enormous procedurally generated star chart. There are quintillions of planets to explore. That's right, 18 quintillion, which is a number my brain can't handle, to be honest. You could spend your entire life playing this game, never going to the same planet twice. When it comes to exploration, few games can even come close to the overall size of explorable content. No Man's Sky is one of the most played indie games nearly 8 years after its release. If you haven't given it a chance yet, check it out on all the PlayStations, Xboxes, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Now, this next one had to be number one for the reason that it does not get any more independent than one person making the entire game. Yes, that is right. Concerned Ape not only did all the programming behind the scenes in a very mechanically deep game, but he did all the art and music for Stardew Valley as well. His inspiration for the game was the Harvest Moon series, and after learning more and more programming along the way, Concerned Ape was able to create a game all his own and sell 30 million copies as release of this video. It's available across all major platforms and PC. The game is a Zen masterpiece where you take the reins of a small farm in a small town that is at odds with a parody of Walmart. The fun of the game is just creating a farm that is sustainable and profitable enough to keep things going and growing. Like many independent games, Stardew Valley leaves things open to how the player wants to do things. If you want to focus on growing crops, harvesting from trees, starting a bee colony for honey, foraging, mining, or many other avenues to earn for your farm, you can. The open-ended nature of the game makes this not only a free-time black hole, but it's replayable to no end. Change your focus from crops to tending cows and chickens, and you have a whole new game. It is just so much fun to build your own farm and run things the way you want. Each aspect of the game is well-researched and feels authentic. From the species of plant native to the area, to the process of producing farm-fresh mayo, there is a lot to work with in this game and get lost along the way. Build relationships with the town folk and enjoy the annual festival, and just become part of the community that you help create. If you haven't tried Stardew Valley yet, check it out as soon as you can. It is available on all major consoles, PC, and Mac. I'd like to also thank Mrs. the Dove for A, being my wife, because that's a task in and of itself, and B, for letting me capture her gameplay of Stardew Valley. There are just a few honorable mentions that I couldn't quite put on the list. Hitman World of Assassination. Now I know people are going to argue, well, the first one was made by Square Enix. Well, actually, after the first one kind of didn't do too well in the market, Square Enix and IO Interactive parted ways amicably. After that, IO Interactive took the full reins of Hitman 2, 3, and to pull it all together for World of Assassination. It is a very small studio, and they developed some of the best Hitman games I have ever played. Folks, that's just a list of indie games that I thought you really need to hear about. But if there's some I left out or some you really enjoy, leave a comment in the section below. Folks, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you'd like more content like this. For even more content, go to twohatsandabeard.com or check out our YouTube page. Until next time, this is the Dove.